Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about the Clubbell Mills exercise. I've been seeing more and more people attempt this movement with varying degrees of success. Now, if you're a beginner, it makes sense that you're going to have some hiccups along the way. But I'm also seeing people that are either trying to instruct this exercise improperly or maybe even offer a certification for this tool while making it pretty clear that they don't know what they're doing. So, I thought I would offer some of my tips that may help you either get more reps out of the exercise, better efficiency from your movement, or increased benefits from performing the Clubbell Mills. It's important to realize that anytime you're training under load or doing weight training, you've got to be doing your joint mobility beforehand to prepare and lubricate your joints for the movement. Into flow, into flow, into flow. If you haven't already seen that video, go back and watch it. But if you have, remember, you've got to be doing this stuff because if you're not properly preparing your joints for the movements that you're going to ask them to complete under load, you will either run into problems in the movement or you could increase your rates of injury over time. That's not what we want. So, the actual performance of the Clubbell Mills. One thing that I see very often is when people are bringing the Clubbell up and dropping it back, they're coming really high up out here and dropping it back really hard and then throwing it out for the rep. Okay? So it's coming super high here, boom, drop it back. If you're looking to increase your numbers, that's not the way you want to do it. There is a proper way to perform that kind of mill, but that's not what I'm talking about right now. Okay? If you want to increase your performance, or maybe you're somebody that's looking to undergo certification as a circular strength training instructor or coach, it's important that you tighten up your form. So rather than coming out super far, we're going to come in tight. And as soon as my club passes this line, my arm, I'm going to start bringing it in. So I can immediately come up and cast it out. Now, this is where we start talking about that joint mobility stuff, right? Because if I can't get up here comfortably because I haven't been doing my arm circles, I'm going to run into problems. If I haven't been doing my elbow work, I'm going to run into problems, right? Here. So, I'm going to come up tight, drop it back. The Clubbell looks like this. Boom, tight, up, drop it back. Again, tight up, drop it back. Not out here, right here. Okay, what else? The actual casting movement. When I'm here and the Clubbell comes out, I'm seeing a lot of people notice my elbow. Strain here, tension here. What's absorbing this? My soft tissue. But it doesn't need to. It doesn't need to do it in this way where I'm crossing the joint, right? Or crossing the joint in this way. I can cast out long. Get the full benefits of the Clubbell by allowing this traction to happen. Don't allow your shoulder to come out of back. Don't slouch. Resist that. Keep your good shoulder position, lock out your arm, and let it swing. So I'm here, tight, up, back, out. Cast it all the way out. Here. It is not this. And you'll see that the heavier Clubbells get, people want to cheat that. Don't cheat that. You're cheating yourself. This one's more of a beginner thing, where I'm not used to swinging Clubbell here, so I'm going to start to shrug away in anticipation, okay, of the Clubbell maybe hitting me in the head or hitting me in the shoulder. I know it sucks, I've been there. But the more you shrug away, the more you tense up, the more you rob yourself of performance. The more you rob yourself of the benefits of the movement because you're not doing the movement. You're preventing that movement from happening by being scared of it. So if you've got to drop down and wait, do that. If you've got to choke up on the Clubbell, do that. But don't shrug away from it. One of the big ones, to me, that looks really ugly a lot of times is the transition from this back position to the cast position. Okay? And I know this was a problem for me when I first started. One of the things I use is this little drill. Okay? I want you to attempt this. Remember, this is not an actual exercise to be trained. Just do the drill. So I'm going to face away from you. I'm already in this high position. Okay? Just swing the Clubbell back and forth. And then try to catch it when it goes this way. When it goes this way, follow it all the way over. So I'm going to drop it back. 1, 2. When I'm ready, bring it here. Drop it back. Because it's about finding the timing. So many times I see people running into a problem because they're here, they drop it back, and then try to rip it out. It's not about that. It's about finding that movement and following the movement of the clubbell as it swings away from you. Again, it's not about dropping it here and ripping it forward. It's about allowing the clubbell to move so it swings and I follow it. Okay? So here, it swings and I follow it. Practice that. Intelligent gripping is important. Okay? When I'm doing the Clubbell Mill, if I'm death gripping the entire time, my hands will fatigue prematurely. I will have more reps in the tank across the rest of my body, but my hands and fingers will be dead, my forearms will be dead, I won't be able to continue. So we do what's called intelligent gripping, which means as the clubbell is here, notice I can almost let go with these fingers. When it drops back, I'm switching here, okay? When I perform this movement, I'm not actually letting go with my fingers, but I am loosening up. So I'm here, then it comes forward, and then I start switching this grip again. As it comes across, pulling more of these fingers here. So notice, which interflow movement is that? It's your ice cream cone to OK sign. So make sure you're practicing that, because that is the Clubbell Mill with your fingers. That's what you should be envisioning. Not actually doing it, but selectively tensioning your fingers in that way. So when I actually do the mill, it looks a little bit more like this. Notice my fingers, right? I can let go. I can do this because I practice it. So make sure you're practicing your interflow. If I do it with a heavier clubbell, it looks pretty much the same. You do have to keep a bit of a tighter grip. But I'm here, loose. Hopefully you can see this transfer of fingers happening. Okay? Work on that. Selective tension doesn't just apply to my fingers, it applies to my entire body. You may or may not be aware that you've actually got a choice in how you perform the Clubbell Mill. So we're going to talk about the performance mill and the technical mill. In a performance mill, I'm locking down my core to prevent the motion of the clubbell from moving my body. In the technical mill, I'm allowing my body to move counter to the motion of the clubbell to further assist myself in getting more and more reps. Both will improve your performance over time, but in the performance mill, you're getting more muscular activation, you're going to fatigue out sooner, and that's going to help your performance. So, here's what I mean. We've got a performance mill. Notice that there's not going to be a whole lot of movement going on up here. Okay, so I counter swing, boom, tight. Okay? The technical mill. Pay attention because there's going to be a lot more swaying happening with my hips. You're going to see a greater twist with my torso. They are both correct mills. They're just different kinds of mills. So, I'm going to cast out, hips, sway. Sway, twist. Sway, twist. The same thing, the intelligent grip, is still happening. All the things I talked about, this long cast, are all important when I'm doing the mill. But then you just add that to your choice of performance or technical. The last thing I want to talk about is removing more and more performance impediments. The brakes on your performance, the things that are holding you back from performance. Because it's not always that you don't have enough strength, the driving forces, but sometimes things are literally holding you back. Okay, so for instance, earlier we talked about getting the mobility work in. That helps. What also helps, though, is breaking up soft tissue that is too dense. If it's too dense, for instance, if my lats are too dense or too tight, they're going to pull me down. If I can't get my elbow high, my elbow is going to take the brunt of the force when I'm coming up here. Okay? I'm not able to come up high, so now the clubbell is pulling down, especially the heavier the clubbell gets and the faster I swing it. Here, this is taking all the force, the nutrition gets squeezed out. And like a wishbone, this thing wants to pop. But if I'm up here, then the clubbell drops down and it's less strain on my elbow, right? So I've got to be able to get this up. If I can't, if this is all I've got, again, problems in the long run, okay? What else do we have? When I'm casting, if I can't come in tight here because my rotator cuff, my infraspinatus, teres minor, all this stuff is just holding me back, then I'm not going to be able to get the clubbell all the way across. Now, the weight of the club will probably bring me in a bit, but we don't necessarily want that. We want the muscles to relax because if the weight of the club is pulling me, then those muscles are pulling back. What does that lead to? premature fatigue. Again, so what are we going to do? You're going to take the ball, tennis ball, spiky ball, small child's head, whatever you've got, okay? Hit the ground, not literally. Take the ball, drop it behind here. Find these tissues that we were just talking about. Okay, your lats, your rotator cuff, basically anything that feels tender back here. Roll around, give it some time. Find a tender spot, roll on it. Or you can hang out on it for a while, dig in a little bit, and move your arm around that spot. That moves the tissue around the ball and helps break up that density in the muscle fibers, in the contractile tissue, okay, that are preventing these things from extending when you need them. How long do you give it? 30 to 60 seconds. Or until you notice a change in the tissue. It will either feel like it releases, it relaxes a bit, or it'll hurt less. But do that, and I promise you, you'll notice a difference when you go back to do the movement, either loaded or unloaded. You'll get up, and you'll move your arm around, and you're like, oh crap, it feels looser. Okay? It's worth doing the work, so give it a shot. Alright, what did we cover? We covered doing your joint mobility before you load the movement. Bringing the clubbell in tight, casting it with your arm locked and shoulder packed, right? Not shrugging away from it. This drill here, where we're timing, you swing with the clubbell to bring it out into the cast position. We talked about intelligent gripping. Do your interflow. Practice that with the clubbell. Drop down and weight if you have to. We talked about two different kinds of mills. Locking down your core so you get greater fatigue and training benefits here, or training for greater efficiency in the movement so you can get better reps or higher numbers of reps as you're approaching your CST certification. And finally, we talked about releasing the brakes from your performance by breaking up some of the myofascial muscular tension, okay, that might be preventing you from getting into the proper positions in the clubbell mill. Practice these things. Give them a shot, and I promise you'll see a positive difference in your mill. Let me know if you've got any questions. We'll see you later.